and welcome back to the Calvin Tobin Show. I am your host, Calvin Tobin. Today we have a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. All right, as hockey is now underway for the 2022-2023 season, we have got many old faces in new places to look out for, so we're going to see how they do with their new team. Last night, we had Calgary versus Colorado, and Colorado was on a back-to-back coming from Chicago, beating the Blackhawks 5-2 in their first game of the season. In Game 2, we're going to see how they're going to do against a top-end team for the first time without Darcy Kemper. And for Calgary, the new faces they got are a bit interesting because who they got is a huge game changer for what they're going to be able to do on the ice. What happened is we all thought Calgary was not going to be the same team that we saw last year after losing Jonathan Goudreau. But they totally made up for that towards the end of the offseason because they were able to sign Jonathan Huberdeau and Mackenzie Weegar in a trade from Florida for Matthew Tkachuk, and they were actually also able to sign free agent former Avalanche Nazem Kadri. So this is going to be a bit interesting because Nazem Kadri was on the team last year and he just became a champion. With Calgary, they started out hot in the first period, holding Colorado's defense to a bare minimum of only 2 shots. They couldn't get anything going in that first period, and the Calgary Flames had great puck control and great ambition moving up the ice, constantly not letting Colorado have any advantage whatsoever. But on those 2 shots that Colorado shot, they were able to get a goal off that a minute 39 seconds into the game. But once they got that, they didn't get anything else for a while. Calgary, throughout the rest of the game, it was their game the entire time because they were pushing the Avalanche's defense back against the wall, making sure they didn't control the puck and making sure that Colorado could not hurt the Flames in any kind of way. And because of it, they were able to score a goal in the first, 2 in the second, and 2 in the third. Colorado only got going in the third period, and that was about it. And they were able to score 3 total goals, and the score ended up being 5-3. But the reason that they were able to finally get something going and be able to score a couple goals was was the start of this one pass, and it was Colorado's goalie Pavel Francouz passing it halfway down the ice to Nathan MacKinnon, and he was able to get a nice wrist shot for a goal and to make it 5-2. And then after that, throughout that rest of the third period, that in order for them to get that third goal that they got, they were making Calgary commit penalties all consistently. That's what Colorado was able to do, and if they are able to do that against top-end teams, that's going to be their way of winning because Pavel Francouz is not the goalie that Kemper was last year. So the Colorado Avalanche are going to have to step up their offense a little bit because when it comes to top-tier teams, even though it's only Game 2, Pavel Francouz is the type of goalie where he's going to allow 3 to 5 goals every game that he plays when it's against top tier teams because these teams will be shooting back just as much as Colorado's offense is. So how well is Colorado going to be able to truly do because of that goalie difference? But Calgary had their game won in their hands the entire time, and because of it, they were able to beat the defending champions 5-3 in their game one, and they have started off strong. So what has Calgary got us in store for us this season with Jonathan Huberdeau and Matthew Tkachuk and Nazem Kadri as their new additions? Now, when it comes to being a champion, you need to have a championship mindset, and Alabama doesn't have that at all this year. They have been in a couple situations, in a couple of games, where they nearly lost both of these games. And their first game where they nearly lost was against the Texas Longhorns, where they lost 20-19 against a backup injured quarterback. So if that freshman quarterback for Texas, Quinn Ewers, was in, I'm pretty sure Texas would have actually won that game, and they should have won anyway, because there was a controversial call in that game of where Bryce Young nearly got a safety, and there ended up being a ridiculous flag of where the referees called targeting and roughing the passer, but what should have been an intentional grounding safety call, and then that's what would have panned out from there. The other game that Alabama has nearly lost, they nearly lost against Texas A&M. They almost lost to Texas A&M in back-to-back years. They beat them 24-20 with a backup quarterback. So if Bryce Young was in, there would be a different score most likely. But the reason that Bryce Young wasn't in was because he had a shoulder injury. Now, Alabama is going to face Tennessee this weekend, and Tennessee is a dangerous team because they have a Heisman candidate quarterback in Hendon Hooker. He is undefeated with the Tennessee Volunteers, and he has been doing an absolute marvelous job against the SEC. He has beat 3 top 25 teams, all the while scoring 46.8 points per game, and that offense is producing 547.8 yards per game. This Tennessee offense is not a team you want to take lightly in the slightest way, because they have multiple receivers, they have multiple running backs, and they have a dual threat quarterback that can hurt you in multiple ways. So Tennessee, they are going to, in my opinion, they are going to beat the Alabama Crimson Tide. And with that, they start tomorrow. They start the game tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And unless Bryce Young is in this game, Alabama is not going to win this game, because Tennessee is a legitimate top 5 team. Alabama hasn't shown that they are the 3rd best team in the country at all this year. Yeah, they may have blown out a couple of teams, but when it came to some big name schools, they nearly lost the game. So when it comes to Alabama facing Hendon Hooker, Will Anderson is going to need to have his defense at peak performance all game long, and they cannot miss a beat at all, because if they do, Hendon Hooker and that Tennessee offense is going to hurt them really bad if they don't keep it that way. But here's the thing, Alabama has their backup quarterback, and who knows if Bryce Young is going to come back for this game off that shoulder injury. But if he does, this could be a totally different type of game. But Jalen Milroe is most likely the starting QB, and I have Tennessee winning 33-20. Now, that's tomorrow. On Sunday, we have another epic battle between the Bills and the Chiefs. The last time that we saw these two teams face each other, we had an all-time game in playoff history with the Chiefs coming out on top 43-36. And Gabriel Davis had himself a baller game that game too, because he had 4 receiving touchdowns for himself. A playoff game for the Bucs. So going into Sunday, the Bills, they are the best team in the NFL right now. It's 50-50 between them and the Eagles, only because the Eagles are undefeated, but the Eagles haven't faced anybody. But here's the thing. Josh Allen is a new type of threat to the Kansas City Chiefs. He has got revenge on his mind. He is waiting for this payback against the Chiefs, because that game was so good. And if they were able to get the ball back in that playoff game, we could have seen that entire overtime play out, because in that fourth quarter they were going score for score for score, drive after drive after drive. The Bills, they are just waiting to face the Chiefs, and payback's coming for those Chiefs. But the thing is that Magic Mahomes, he is constantly going to a new level of lethal. He is still continuing to find ways to come up with new magic tricks to torch defenses at will. And in this game, the only difference that's in this game is Tyreek Hill is not a Chief anymore. So the number 1 wide receiver in this game for the Chiefs is most likely going to be Travis Kelce, and we could see him have another 2, 3, 4 TD game, because that defense of the Bills is one of the best, if not the best, in the NFL right now. It is hard to get past these Bills defense. And throughout the season, because of that dominant defense, being able to get the ball back to Josh Allen and that offense have completely destroyed teams. They have mocked the Rams. They slapped around the Titans, and they made fun of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they won each game by an average margin of 30 points. That new type of threat is headed straight for the Kansas City Chiefs. And this game starts tomorrow at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Time, and I think the score is going to be a close one. I think it's going to be 38-37, with the Bills coming out on top for this victory to get the payback against the Kansas City Chiefs. All right. That's the end of the Calvin Tobin Show. Please subscribe to my channel at Calvin Tobin Show so you don't miss out on any sports media whatsoever. And please follow me on Instagram at Calvin Tobin Show so you don't miss out on any sports news whatsoever. And